Hello, Ultra Gamers. It is I, the Lesser Gamer, who never plays any games. I'm here to show you the updates on my weird fantasy maps. I suppose rather than start with Earth, I'll start with its twin sister on the other side of the sun, the Counter Earth, because I already made a video of it and I decided to, quote unquote, finish it. You can see there's a legend up here denoting which kind of covering is different biomes, it's not very good. It's based on the spill house projection, which is where the shape of the world comes from. I've actually updated it a little bit. I've actually covered up the indents where the continents can be seen. Um, I might end up changing that. I might end up just redoing the color of the ocean entirely, and that would be kind of fun, actually. Um, it would probably be good because this I've used this kind of color for the ocean for a long time. I feel like it's realistic, but I want it to be more saturated. I feel like it's a little cold looking water. But yeah, I showed in my video earlier that I had minis built. Well, I made minis, kit bashed them for to have in the riverlands of this planet. Which, if you don't know, Counter Earth is a real fake thing. It's a real um, concept that there could be another planet on the other side of the sun. Now, there isn't. We know by now. But, the idea is it's used in sci fi and stuff, and this is basically my settings version of that. And the Riverlands is kind of this big region from like here to kind of down here, where there's a shit ton of rivers everywhere, and there's all these grand civilizations, mostly inhabited by kind of East Asian, like Southeast Asian, or how would you put it, or like Aboriginal Australian, or Polynesian, or Pacific Islander or Melanesian looking folks, and they've got kind of like a late medieval sort of technology to them. They might have fire lances, but that would be it. They don't have any real guns. And just making different regions, different weird creatures like the hand crabs. They're crabs that look like hands, or maybe they're hands that look like crabs, but they have gold mines. Got this confederacy of like uh, armored walled gardens. These guys ride giraffes and they have plated armor. I kind of imagine as like sort of South Asian, sort of Indian looking, and although these guys would actually be, I think, black. I think I wrote in my notes that these guys were short black folks, and they're part of an empire that fell, and now they're split up. And then Ashi is an old empire I had from an older version of my setting. It's basically like pseudo-fascist Southeast Asian matchlock kind of Renaissance sort of. Like these guys actually have real guns. They have like yeah, like muskets basically, matchlock muskets. And there's different regions and kingdoms all throughout. Lots of weird places, weird names for stuff based on where they're at. I'm pretty happy with the names I gave for all these. And you can see, deep into the interior, there's just so much stuff. The only thing is, I ended up with so much empty land. It's like that's cool, that's fine. I like how it looks, but the thing is, I don't know what to put on here because most of my setting building stuff uh, has actually been taking stuff from other settings and other mythologies and like pseudo history and stuff and kind of putting that in my setting. And there's just not a lot of that for Counter Earth. The only thing I have is like I think I mentioned this in the other video showing this map. Yeah, there's like two major continents, Atli and Pelora. I think Pelora's way bigger. But there's like one psychologist who made up some stuff to like infiltrate a cult, kind of, sort of. That's what happened, I guess. But that just tells me that there are like these mutoid near humans all over the continent, all over the world, basically, and that they're where the planet gets its name, Clarion, which I think is a name used in a bajillion things. You can see over in this area, this is like the cold seas and the near seas. Yeah, they've got some basic labels for but yeah, there's like this huge ring of smaller island continents, and the islands have different names. Some of the names indicate to me that some of these places are inhabited by, or have been inhabited by, related people. You know, Pecora, this is kind of like a eastern woodlands, kind of North America type place. Um, you know, Mazita is more like a Central American, whereas Maroja is more like Amazonian, you know, named after the Marjoara culture. Marusa, I forget. Oh, that's right. This is named after an old name for the North Sea, Mori Marusa or something. Burana, you know, I just like making up names for this. I think I made up some decent names. Uh, Sheem, I like the name Sheen. Taupe. I just like making up funny names like that. The whole region, Megarbania, where it's just like the lands between Megala, which is very like Mediterranean. I mean, it's literally the Mediterranean if you look at it, and Urbania, which is, I believe, named after Hyrcania or something. I don't know, but it's, you know, kind of the Arabian Sea, and yeah, you know, Indaman, kind of the Andaman Islands mixed with India. You know, these guys to me have sort of a Indian sort of vibe to them. But yeah, I could go over this forever, you know, but yeah, there's a lot of labels, a lot of different shit. Bzz, that's a good name. So here's another map that I've worked on, which is a map of the solar system, our solar system in the fantasy land. So it's not to scale, of course, and it's based off of someone else's map of the solar system with a bunch of bullshit added on top of it. Actually, it's based on two of them. The shape of the Oort cloud actually comes from a separate map. I don't remember which one. Um, but yeah, if you look up maps of the solar system, this is one of the ones that pops up. I mean, well, the ones I traced basically. So, you know, open about that. But yeah, I guess we'll start from Earth. You know, you got regular old Earth. You can see Hyperborea there in the North Pole. You got regular Moon, which on the other side of the dark side is got forests and mountains and stuff. You got Master and Secunda from Elder Scrolls. You got the Black Moon from different myths and also kind of the Elder Scrolls. Someone on the internet made up two planets that are really just lens flares, and I don't know if it's a mental illness thing or if they're just tricking people. But I only saw people talking about Peck, and both images this person used of Peck look completely different and very much like a lens flare. And in one of them, there's another uh, thing orbiting in front of it that they said is the blue moon, which did not look blue, and changed shape in every photo, so it was probably a lens flare. So you got Peck, and then you got Pock, which I found by Googling the planet Peck and finding the person's other set of photos, which again, they had Peck and it looked different. And then Pock, I thought was kind of a clever name because if you look at the photo, it doesn't look like a perfectly round thing. It looks like a planet that's been like shredded and has a bunch of holes in it. So that's what I made it look like, because that's what makes sense. Now over here is the very planet we were looking at, Clarion. Now what you might notice is that Clarion has this weird moon called Hyperion. So Hyperion is kind of creepy, and everyone on the Counter Earth just tries to ignore him. They don't like thinking about him. So basically, it's a big moon. It's like a big fleshy brown kind of, not like human brown, like that, like weird decayed, burnt, singed flesh, and it's got this huge uneven red mouth, and it's got these jagged, almost mole-like or like rat-like teeth, and it just screams into the empty void of space, all the while orbiting the counter Earth and circling around it, always facing the planet. So everyone who goes on counter Earth is like, oh, don't look at that guy, it's bad, don't look at him. And so they don't look at the moon. They don't like that. Orpheus is from a sci-fi book. I forget who. It was a famous guy. Psyche is a real meteor, and it's actually got more gold on it than all of the Earth combined, I think. So the Anunnaki, of course, needing, or just the Nibiru people in general, needing gold to preserve their atmosphere. Of course, they mine the fuck out of that. Mercury, it's Mercury. Not much to say. Not a lot of sci-fi takes place on Mercury. Vulcan, that's a fake planet in between Mercury and the Sun that doesn't exist but doesn't this. And it's probably not the Star Trek Vulcan, although I want to have Star Trek Vulcans in my game. I don't think they're supposed to be in the solar system. I think they're from another planet entirely. I could be wrong. This is from a fake article that said that this thing was floating in and out of the sun and that it was the size of Jupiter. They were lying, and it was an AI generated image, but now it is, indeed. Venus, the green planet, the planet of the green oceans and the green everything, and it's human tropical. Counter Mars, from the same uh, psychologist or pseudo history lady who went into cult and made up stuff. Najika Station. This is my original super duper space station in the solar system. It's huge. It's a big rectangle. It's a big cube, and it's millions, probably billions of years old actually. There's Mars. You got Phobos, Deimos, Marsos. You always gotta have Marsos. Let's see. You got Jupiter and Saturn. Very famous planets with very famous. Saturn's got the rings. It's got the planet Titan, which has Thanos' civilization on it. You got Rhea. Rhea's cool. You got Ganymede on Jupiter, right? You got the big red circle of Jupiter. You got Io, which is a big yellow volcano moon that's like more volcanic than anything. You got Callisto, and you got Europa, which is icy, and underneath is the ocean where there's life in D&D at least. Possibly in real life, you don't know. Uranus, you got Uranus. It's watery, oceany, icy. Same with Neptune. It's got Triton. Everyone needs Triton. You got Pluto. Pluto's a big dwarf planet. It's not quite a meteor. It's not quite a planet. It's kind of in between. That's the thing. You got the black hole of Sol. So be careful. The black hole will eat you. Inner Hercolibus. This is a Latin American Nibiru Planet X type thing that they made up. Just imagine Nibiru, but with a bunch of nonsense, and then mostly it's in Latin America. So if you don't speak Spanish and or Portuguese, you're fucked. Here's Planet X. This is specifically Planet X from Godzilla. This is where Dracula. No. This is where MF Doom goes to meet King Ghidorah and smoke pot and plot the overthrow of humanity. Here's Taiki. Another fake. It's a brown dwarf, red giant, some kind of sun or nearly something in between a sun and a planet. I don't fucking know. And it's got the Tychean star moons. This is something that someone on the internet made up, and I was like, okay, good for me. Nibiru. This is the most famous fake planet. Some people say it has an Earth-like uh, thing. I think it does. It also has a red crimson desert and some stuff. I probably shouldn't make the. I overuse the purple plants, I think, sometimes, so I might recolor this. But yeah, Nibiru, it's the planet of freaky stuff, and it's got this huge, misty, red oxide rust arm trail, with all these moons trailing behind it and all sorts of space debris, and it's insane. Isatum, it's another one of those Planet X things made up by some guy on the internet. Actually, there's a lot of those. And the Saturn has a yellow moon, Napaciti, which I have turned into like a brown sea, a brown ocean, green and purple planted, jungle or like fertile. It's maybe more of a swamp planet, but certainly it's got this ring of, colorful fire that I saw someone say it had, and a lot of weird stuff there. Saru, another one of those fake planets. Mateen is one of those fake planets in the X binary system. Like, supposedly we have according to Whack Jobs, we have two suns, and these are the planets in it that you can see if you look at the lens flare wrong. But Mateen might be made by someone different, because I heard about it later. Uri, it's a brown planet. It's probably mud. Imaru, it's black. Atu is Atu, and it's got Atu's moon. And then there's Ishnu, which is blue. It's a blue planet. Then you got Nemesis. This is the evil star. If you go into its surface or into the cloud, you go to hell. You literally go to hell. So it also brings. Oh, that's an irrelevant image. Don't worry. And this guy brings you to. This is where demons go, and it flings different bodies and comets and stuff into the solar system, thus wreaking havoc on humanity. And now finally, we have the map of the Earth. So I've shown this before in parts. It's not the most original thing. It's definitely based on a lot of stuff you can see Beyond the Ice Wall by Oh Weiwei on DeviantArt, as well as 10 or 11 other artists. You got a lot of stuff traced, right? I'm not hiding that or anything. Like I did not invent Skull Island. I did not invent King Kong, right? I did not invent Akavir from Elder Scrolls lore, right? There's all this stuff I could show, but basically, I just want to show some of the more recent things I've done with it. Um, Also been working on a Hollow Earth map, but that's always taken forever. So I added Terra Australis, specifically the version of Terra Australis that is like a big sort of land bridge almost that I've seen in some depictions connecting Africa to Southeast Asia. Now, it doesn't connect them right now in this time period, although at some points in my setting it definitely has. When like Soon to Land was a thing, or Sahul, or like I have some stuff from Pathfinder lore. Talmada. Talmada definitely connected this and made the Indian Ocean an inland ocean, right? I don't. That'd be kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, there's it's basically just a version of Lemuria, and I named it Antokia, which I think is how that's pronounced. It is a name that you can find on ancient Greek fucking globes that are depicting not Atlantis, not anything they thought was fantastical. And see, Terra Australis comes around over here, and it's just a mishmash of different Terra Australis maps. But what land masses must be on the other quadrants of the Earth, because they knew they were only on a fourth of it basically, and they thought the land would be equal, which it was not. But they at least knew how big it was. And Antokia was what they kind of called the place south of the Ecumen, right? Which is literally what in my setting what Afro-Eurasia is called. It's called the Ecumen. So this is just kind of south of that, um, and they would call the land over here would be Perioki, and this would be Antipodes. Although I think that's in Latin. The Greek names are different. Um, Other than that, what is there really to show? I guess not much. I haven't modified it much other than adding that. Yeah. So, hope you have a good day. Bye bye.